With the grim and brutal reality of a largely footballless summer beginning to hit home, there's only one place to turn for excitement. We're not talking about action on the pitch, but off it. The whirring of proverbial fax machines in the boardrooms of clubs across the world. Love them or loathe them, you can't help but pay attention to them. Here are 7 of the weirdest transfer rumours of the summer window so far. Take them with an industrial-sized pinch of salt. Manolas and Paredes to Zenit. The Roma centre-back and defensive midfielder look set to complete a double switch to Roberto Mancini's Zenit St. Petersburg. Both have been linked with moves to England, but now seem to be Russia-bound instead. Roma director of football Monchi declared that the club was not a supermarket earlier this month, but these could be the second and third high-profile departures from the Stadio Olimpico, and we're not even into July. They'll certainly have a big budget to replace them, but whether they'll be able to is another question entirely. SZCZESNY to Juventus. Not fancied at Arsenal, but wanted by Juventus. The Pole would begin life in Turin as an understudy to Gianluigi Buffon, but is wanted long-term after impressing the Italian champions during a 2-year loan spell at Roma. At a rumoured £14 million for a goalkeeper who probably has his best years still ahead of him, this could prove to be a good deal for Juventus. But Arsenal fans who still remember his high-profile gaffes might not see it as a bad piece of business either. NIANG to Arsenal. Ah yes, this is more like it. Linked with Aguero, end up with NIANG. That would be very Arsenal, wouldn't it? The Frenchman spent the second half of last season on loan at Watford from AC Milan, but blew hot and cold at Vicarage Road. He's already turned down the chance to join the Hornets permanently, and is stalling on talks with Everton because he believes a move to the Emirates could be on the cards. Has he really done enough to justify it though? Aguero Alexis swap deal. In our humble opinion, you just don't see enough straight swap deals these days. Probably because it's so easy for them to fall down. Both clubs have to agree on the value of each player, and both players have to be up for the move. So it's surprising to hear that such a high-profile swap could be on the cards, but it could make more sense than you think. Dangling an Aguero-shaped carrot in front of Arsene Wenger is probably the only thing that might tempt him into letting the Chilean move to another English club. It would also be a pretty straightforward way for Arsenal to replace the goals they'd lose from Sanchez. The only sticking point might be whether the City striker would be keen to commit to Arsenal for what might be the rest of his career. John Terry to Birmingham. The prospect of an ex-England skipper going on a free transfer was just too tempting for Ari to resist, and he promptly offered JT a very good offer to join him at St Andrews. Big John's a proud lad though, and you'd have thought he'd probably have offers from Premier League sides, so would he really drop down a division? Linking up with Redknapp might be tempting, but actually, never mind. IBRAHIMOVIC to Celtic. Despite his recent injury issues, you'd think Zlatan would have clubs queuing around the block looking to secure his signature for next season after a very impressive debut year in England. So why would Celtic have any chance of signing him? Back in 2013, the Swede said that any player would want to end his career at Celtic Park and described the atmosphere Hoops fans created as beautiful. Still sounds like a bit of a stretch though, doesn't it? Paulinho to Barcelona. When Spurs shipped the Brazilian midfielder off to China after 2 disappointing seasons in North London, he joined a long list of expensive, hyped-up signings who had flopped at White Hart Lane. Since moving to Gwangju Evergrande, he's rediscovered his goal-scoring touch, ticking along at better than 1 goal every 4 games, and has forced his way back into the Brazilian national team. If the rumoured £22 million deal to take him back to Europe and the Nou Camp goes through, it will be a major moment in the burgeoning history of Chinese football. While Gwangju might find it hard to replace him, it would prove that moving to China doesn't mean that a player's career is over. Those were our 7 weirdest transfer rumours of this summer. What did we miss? Which is the most far-fetched story of them all? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.